The 1995 Busch Grand National season is about to begin with the Goody's 300 at Daytona International Speedway. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thanks, Bob. Historically here at Daytona, speed and experience are critical if you're to start up front in the Goody's 300. And once again, there are Winston Cup veterans on the front row. Michael Waltrip has won his third pole in 4 years, and he is flanked by the 1993 Daytona 500 winner, Dale Jarrett. Just behind them, though, that potent Goodrich Chevrolet, which has won the last 5 consecutive Goody's 300s. But it's a little bit different here in 95.
A little different is right. Earnhardt has retired from Grand National competition and put Jeff Green in the number 3 Chevy Monte Carlo.
It is Goodrich, it is Chevrolet, but it is not Dale Earnhardt. Jeff Green, how much pressure is it to fill those shoes here today?
Well, it's hadn't really hit me yet till we get out here to start running. You know, this Goodrich Chevrolet is running awful good, and we're just looking forward to getting out there and running with the guys, working off some laps and getting down to the end. I've got an awful good friend up here and starting in front of me, and we're going to work together for sure, not going to try to hang each other out, and it's just going to take a lot of help for whoever wins. So we're just looking forward to the end and try to get this Chevrolet in victory lane.
I'm standing back here in the 20th row, and look at this. Terry Labonte almost didn't make the field. Last year, he was the 4th place finisher.
Once again, the Goody's 300 sees Winston Cup and Busch Grand National regulars having to fight their way through a very competitive field.
Last year, Chad Little started 38th, but came back to finish in 3rd place. This year, Chad, back here at 42nd, this has got to seem like the same old story.
Yeah, you know, I think Goody's tried to pull a fast one on me. You know, our sponsor's Bear, and Goody's people told me that we were going to run the other direction. So I found out that wasn't true this morning, and I'm stuck back here. But our car's running good, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed and stay out of some wrecks, and we'll be back up front soon.
The bulk of today's 45-car field is comprised of Busch Grand National Series regulars. These are the faces of the young men and women who will compete weekly at all 27 Busch Series events. While today they may not have super speedway experience comparable to a Michael Waltrip or Dale Jarrett, it is from this group that the Busch Series champion will be crowned following the season finale back in South Florida come November. Bob?
All right, thank you, Jerry, and hi, everyone from Daytona. Get set for exciting racing here today. Well, there are new faces. There are some newer rules to deal with in Busch Grand National Racing. First of all, in terms of engines, you can run a V6, but most of the teams have gone to the 9.5-to-1 compression V8 engine. And 100 pounds has been added to the cars. Why have these changes been made? Well, perhaps we can get an idea by calling in Benny Parsons and our guest for the race today, Kyle Petty.
Well, I think they're trying to make the cars a little bit closer to the Winston Cup cars, don't you, Kyle?
Yeah, really they are. They've gone up 100 pounds on the Busch Grand National cars. They've come off 100 pounds on the Winston Cup cars. You've got the 9-to-1 motors, which are basically the same thing as the 358 weight-wise. So I think what they're trying to do is get the Busch drivers where they can make the transition from Busch racing to Winston Cup racing a whole lot better. But in turn, it's going to make those Busch drivers a whole lot more competitive in the Busch Series than what we've seen in the past. So I don't think we're going to see Winston Cup drivers walking all over them this year like they usually do.
Bob, it's been very difficult for the Busch drivers to come in and be competitive with the Winston Cup drivers. This is a step to make that easier.
The Goody's 300 set to go here at Daytona International Speedway, and we're being brought to you today by Suzuki. Your Suzuki motorcycle and ATV dealer has the ride you've been waiting for and the financing to get it. By Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life. And by NASCAR 94 Year in Review. To order, call 800-71-NASCAR. The cars are rolling out. We'll be back with the starting lineup and the start of the Goody's 300 from Daytona International Speedway in a moment. Good overhead shot of this 2.5-mile tri-oval here in Daytona. Let's take a look at the race analysis. We'll go 120 laps. The pole speed was 185.326. The record is 157.1. They have about 35 to 40 laps on the tires and 45 to 50 on the fuel, and we're going for a purse very close to $700,000 here this afternoon. Here's the starting lineup for today's race. The pole sitter is Michael Waltrip in car number 30, the Pennzoil Pontiac, and Dale Jarrett starts alongside in the Mack Tools Ford number 32. Jeff Green in Dale Earnhardt's number 3 Goodrich Service Chevrolet starts third, and alongside is Mike McLaughlin from New York. Jeff Purvis starts in the 5th position. Alongside will be Elton Sawyer. The 4th row, Derek Cope in 82, Jason Keller in number 57. Mike Wallace occupies the 9th starting position. Larry Pearson is in 10th. Rodney Combs, car number 43. Bobby Hamilton in 42 in the 6th row. Row 7, it's Dennis Setzer in 59 and Joe Bessie in 97. The 08 of Bobby Dotter starts 15th. Joe Nemechek in 87 is 16th. Jeff Fuller in 47 and Bobby Hillen in number 20 are in row number 9. The 10th row consists of Johnny Benson in car 74 and Rich Bickle in 54. The 11th row, former series champion Steve Grissom in 29 and Robbie Reiser in 17. Mark Martin in number 60 and Kirk Shelmerdine in 25 occupy the 12th row. Row 13, it's Tracy Leslie and Tim Bender. The 14th row, Hermie Sadler and Rick Wilson. Row 15, Curtis Markham and Tommy Houston. The 16th row, it's Kenny Schrader along with Kenny Wallace. Then comes David Green, the defending series champion, and Stevie Reeves from Indiana. Patty Moe starts at number 40 and Doug Hebron in 35 in row 18. The 19th row, rookie L.W. Miller III and Jim Bound. Then it's veterans Terry Labonte, I should say, and Phil Parsons. The provisionals went to Glenn Sullivan in 84 and Chad Little in 23. Steve Hoddick in 94 and Tim Fedewa in 55. And the former champions provisional goes to Jamie Aubie in car number 11. There are 45 starters. That is the largest field in the history of the Goody's 300. Our in-car cameras today. The Phenolube car, number 20, driven by Bobby Hillen, will carry a roof cam as Bobby goes down the backstretch. Here's Derek Cope in the number 82 machine. He also has a roof cam. And our third in-car camera carried by Chad Little in the number 23 machine. Well, the Fab Four consists of Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Bodine, and Bobby Allison as they have 7, 3, 2, and 1 win. However, there are no former champions in the starting grid for today's race. Whoever goes to victory lane today, it'll be the first time that he has won the Goody's 300. Here's John Kernan with a report on Michael Waltrip.
Some anxious moments for Michael Waltrip this morning. They had a problem with their oil pressure. They had to get that fixed, and they were one of the last cars to go through tech line. Yesterday morning, they had to change the motor. They found a little bit of metal in the overage filter. That's an inline oil filter. Ronnie Silver said he didn't think the engine was hurt that badly, but they had two sitting on the truck, so they decided to change it.
Let's see if they get the green flag. This time they do. It's waving, and the Goody's 300 is underway from Daytona. Number 1, tucked in right behind him is Jeff Green in car number 3, and the number 8 car, driven by Kenny Wallace, is going to be penalized for passing before crossing the line.
Well, Kyle Petty, what do you think of this seat?
I tell you what, the seat's great, but I want to tell you something. What I noticed this year more than anything else, these cars sound like Winston Cup cars with these 9-to-1 motors. You don't have that high-pitched whine from those V6s. I heard Michael talk before the race started, or David Green, and Michael was his buddy. Let me tell you something. Dale Jarrett's Michael's buddy, too, and they hung him out on the first lap.
Jarrett has fallen into third position. That's Jeff Purvis working the low side of the track, along with Derek Cope in the 82, and we're on top of Derek's car as they exit turn 4.
He and Michael Waltrip, they're both from Owensboro, Kentucky, and Michael probably had as much to do with Jeff Green driving that 3 car as anyone else. He said, we're buddies, we're going to hang together and lead these guys. They're trying, not having a great deal of success. There's Purvis on the inside of the 34 car. That's Mike McLaughlin. New sponsor for him this year, the French's Mustard black flag car.
Elton Sawyer's in the 38 white car. Off of corner 4 once again onto the tri-oval. Completing lap number 3 of 120. Waltrip still at the front.
That red car you saw on the inside, Derek Cope trying to take that low line along with Mike Wallace.
Now we have 4 cars breaking away as 5th and 6th run side by side.
That's Mike Wallace in the black and green number 90. And there's a familiar car, that blue and orange 43. That's Rodney Combs driving the sponsor, what is it, Kyle?
WCW.
World Championship Wrestling, Benny. You don't watch wrestling?
Yes.
Man, that's good entertainment.
Hulk Hogan was making his rounds to the garage area this morning, so I think he's got Rockin' Rodney pretty pumped up to run this race.
I'm sure. Rodney Combs behind the wheel of the 43 car. Running alongside Mike McLaughlin. Everybody sorting out their position here in the early going as Mike Waltrip, the pole sitter, has led every lap so far, and we have completed 4. Back with more right after this. Welcome back to Daytona. We are under caution. We had an incident coming off of corner number 4. We're going green in a half a lap. There is the car that was involved in the incident. That is Mike McLaughlin. Here's what happened as the field came off of corner number 4.
Up in front, we see the white car just make contact with McLaughlin, and watch the roof flaps come up and set that car back down. They worked great, didn't they, Kyle?
I tell you what, that's one of the most amazing pieces of engineering I've ever seen come on a Winston Cup car. To set that thing back down, I tell you what, it gives the drivers a good feel to be sitting in that thing, knowing when you get backwards coming off one of these corners, you're going to keep all 4 corners on the ground.
And evidently, Mike blew a left front tire as he made the lap around the racetrack and has knocked off an oil line or a brake line or something. John Kerner, what's his problem?
Well, Benny, this is a new one for the books for me. The top of the oil tank in the rear of the car actually came off when he made the contact, and there was a slight fire. The crews did get that under control, and we're ready to go back to green.
Michael Waltrip leads him down once again for a restart of the Goody's 300.
And they're about 4 abreast going down in turn 1. We see them. Did they all make it? Yep.
Those roof flaps are amazing. The back end of that 34 car was totally off the ground, and had it not been for the flaps, he would have been over. Dale Jarrett makes a bid for 2nd position on the backstretch alongside of Jeff Green.
And folks, the 32 car, Dale Jarrett's car, is a Ford. This is a new automobile for him since last year. He ran the General Motors cars, but since he started driving the 28 car, he's got him a Ford Busch Grand National, and Robert Yates is supplying the 9.5 to 1 V8s he's using.
And another Ford driven by Mike Wallace. That's the number 90 blue and black car, also making a move. He's up to 4th now, but losing a position as he gets to the inside of the racetrack. By the way, I mentioned earlier that the number 8 car of Kenny Wallace was going to be penalized for passing before crossing the line. NASCAR reconsidered, and there was no penalty to Wallace.
And we see that Mike Wallace, he got a crash up in turns 1 and 2 right in the middle of the corner. That's the 40 car, Patty Moise.
94 of Steve Hoddick, one of the Busch Grand National North drivers, is involved.
That black car right down the corner is Kurt Schomerdine, I believe. That's Patty Moise, the Dial Purex car, as the cars come back to the line.
2nd caution, 9 laps about to be completed. A 1-car incident with Mike McLaughlin, and now a multi-car crash in turn 2 has slowed the pace of the Goody's 300. Well, Patty Moise appears to be okay. The window net is down. She's moving around inside the car. But a lot of damage, and we ride now with Chad Little. See what happened. Up ahead of him, about 8 or 10 cars.
And he goes in the smoke, and obviously can see nothing. He gets tagged from behind. He's still going, though.
There's Stevie Reeves, who was involved. I don't know how seriously. Chad keeps going.
There's the 51 car.
That's Jim Bound.
That's a 35 car of Doug Hebron, Cincinnati Millicron car.
He loops around a couple of times.
That one, Tommy Houston, the 6 car.
Let's see how David Green drove through the crash. Our defending series champion.
Wow.
There's David way down in the grass, but whoa, just missed the 94 car of Hoddick. So this is going to be a rather lengthy yellow as the cleanup process begins. There's a 25 car of Kirk Shelmerdine, one of many involved in a crash in turn 2. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
For the next year, you'll be hearing a great deal about 9.5 to 1 compression ratio. Simply put, here's compression ratio. Take the volume of the cylinder, which you just saw, the thickness of the head gasket. Also add the combustion chamber in the cylinder head, that volume. Add all that together, and you come up with a total volume. For simple arithmetic, we'll use a total volume of 95 cubic inches. That's the cylinder, the gasket, and the combustion chamber in the head. Now then, we'll compress that volume. We'll take the piston up to the top and compress it. And we'll say, for simple arithmetic, once again, 10 cubic inches. To get compression ratio, you simply take the total volume, which is 95 cubic inches, divide that by the compressed volume of 10, comes out to 9.5 to 1 compression ratio. The reason that NASCAR is trying to do this, some of the teams are running 17, 18 to 1 compression ratio right now. Here's the result when you run that much compression, a burned piston.
Now, Kyle, wasn't that great? Even I could understand that.
I could understand that too. I just don't. If my 95 cubic inch is different from my 10 and all this stuff, I don't know. I don't know where to put the decimal in.
Right.
That stuff.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Update on a couple of cars involved in the early incident. We might mention Kirk Shelverdine's car has been on and off pit road. He's driving for Don Beverly this year, the Big Johnson Chevrolet. Basically, the car is towed out. The sheet metal has been everywhere around the race car. It will not run very well as far as aerodynamics are concerned. Bobby Hill in on pit road a couple of times. They rounded a lug nut off the right rear and have gotten it fixed. He is back on the racetrack. Bob?
And we are back to racing as the green comes out to get this event restarted on lap number 14. John Kernan is with another victim of that crash, Stevie Reeves.
Bob, Stevie has pulled his Monte Carlo behind the wall all the way back to the garage area. Stevie, a lot of damage. Looks like your day's over. Did you see what happened?
All I saw was Patty Moise turned around. I don't know if somebody got into her or what. I was about 4 or 5 cars back from her. And I started to go low, and a guy tucked down on the inside of me. I couldn't get down any lower. We were rubbing doors, and the car in front of me spun and, you know, collected me in the right front. It's a shame because this Clavel Girl Chevy was probably the best car I've ever had in my life. It was really running good. The guys did a good job after qualifying. We were one of the fastest cars drafted, and I'm sure we had a good top 5 today with, you know, without bragging.
Well, a new team this year for Stevie Reeves. Looking for great things from them whenever we get over to the Rockingham Speedway in a couple of weeks, Bob.
Yeah, what a great opportunity for Stevie Reeves, who, of course, comes from the USAC ranks, driving for Ed Whitaker this year. The 72 car of Tracy Leslie has moved up well here in the early going. He leads this group of cars down the backstretch.
The Detroit Gasket Chevrolet, you see, started in the 25th spot, is now up to 12th place, and right behind him is Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford, the 60 car who last year was so strong in this Busch Grand National Division.
Not too far ahead of those cars is the lead draft. At the back of the lead draft is the 3 car of Jeff Green. Up front, we have A new leader as Michael Waltrip heads toward the back. There is Dale Jarrett, who now has the lead, and Jeff Purvis is second.
Man, they've dropped old Mikey back, where is that, about 7th or 8th place?
Yeah, he's 6th, I think, running alongside Nemechek in 87.
And there's his buddy Jeff Green. So we know which car that Jeff Green is going to hook up with. It's the yellow 30. Tracy Leslie on the inside the yellow car. And Mark Martin trying to get by our pole sitter, Michael Waltrip.
The line forming to the inside of Michael Waltrip as he continues to lose positions. And a battle up front now for second position as Rodney Combs has gone into second position. Wallace and Purvis battle for third side by side. Boy, you got to be impressed with Rodney Combs, huh?
I'm telling you, there we see Derek Cope right behind Mike Wallace trying to push him by Purvis.
And he will. Purvis hung up high.
John Kerner, what happened to Michael Waltrip? Just get out of the draft?
Ronnie Silver is crew chief as we see Michael come back to the trial. Well, looks like he's picked up a little bit of speed. Ronnie told me that a couple of laps ago Michael radioed in, but they couldn't understand what he had said. He said something's wrong, and then they couldn't understand what Michael said. Ronnie hit the radio, tried to talk to Michael. He did not answer, and that's when you saw Michael starting to drift back. But maybe it was just a slight problem, perhaps ignition. He flipped the switch to change ignitions, possibly, because it looked like he had picked back up speed, at least from here on pit road through the trial.
How about the number 43 leading the field? This looks like Richard Petty in the cockpit, but it's Rodney Combs, and he has taken command of this race.
It's got to make you feel good, doesn't it, Kyle?
It's been a long time since anybody's seen a car number 43 up front down here. But I tell you what, Rodney and those guys, they had the black flag deal last year, and they lost it. They're out to impress some people this year. And, you know, the WCW, the World Wrestling Federation, or World Wrestling thing came together, I guess, what, a couple of days ago. I don't know. It was a pretty quick deal, so I can bet you one thing. The King is excited right now. He hasn't been excited much this week, but he's excited right now.
What'd you call him, Rockin' Rodney?
Rockin' Rodney Combs from Lost Creek, West Virginia.
All right. And there we see Michael still losing positions. That's Rich Bickle in 54 trying to go by on the inside.
Mike's back to about 12th spot. Jerry Punch has more on Jeff Green and Michael Waltrip, who right now are running side by side out there.
Guys, early this morning, Dale Earnhardt was going to give Jeff Green a little drafting school at his motorhome behind the garage area. He told Jeff, "Now listen to what I'm telling you, son." He said, "Now, when it drops the green flag, you follow Michael Waltrip." And Jeff said, "Well, what if Michael Waltrip moves up high in front of Jerry?" He says, "You follow Michael Waltrip." So what if Dale Jarrett takes the lead? He said, "Listen, son, you follow Michael Waltrip." Jeff Green said, "I think you want me to follow Michael Waltrip, right?" And Dale said, "Yeah, but just a moment ago when Michael began to fall back, Earnhardt just radioed Jeff Green and said, okay, forget what I told you. Don't follow Michael Waltrip anymore."
And now it's Dale Jarrett who's off the pace.
It's Dale Jarrett, exactly, the outside pole sitter that's off the pace on the inside. There you see it going in 3. He's falling back to about 15 spots. There, Kenny Wallace, the Red Dog car, goes by on the outside. Dennis Setzer.
Here comes Terry Labonte.
And Larry Pierce following the back of that group, the Stanley Tools car.
Well, it's Rodney Combs who is showing the way. Jerry, what's wrong with Dale?
Just spoke with John Irvin, the crew chief. Dale thinks he may have a left rear tire going down. Now, they have the Texaco Hamilton crew that will pit his Winston Cup car tomorrow in this pit to get some pit practice. The rules apply the same as Busch and Winston Cup, and they are waiting on Dale Jarrett to bring the Mack tools forward down pit road.
We will take a break and be back with more of our coverage of the Goodies 300 from Daytona. It is Rodney Combs up front in a Pontiac. Back in a moment. We are back at Daytona, and a change up front. At the end of the backstretch, Mike Wallace goes into the lead with a little bit of help from Derek Cope in number 82, as they've hung Rodney Combs now on the high side of the racetrack. Good battle, though, down through the tri-oval.
Mark Martin, look at that. The Winn-Dixie Ford is up to 4th place, trying his best to take over 3rd. And where did he start, Bob?
23rd.
Man. Mike Wallace has been able to get 2 or 3 car length advantage while these guys run side by side.
But now here comes Cope with drafting help from Martin, and Rodney is going to slide up the racetrack and lose some positions, but now Cope goes up there also.
And that's Steve Grissom in the black 29 right behind Mark Martin.
Joe Nemechek is in the 87.
It looks like, Kyle, the inside is much the preferred line.
That's the way it was in the 125-mile races down here with the Winston Cup stuff. That's the way it was in the IROC race. That's the way it's been all week. And, you know, Michael's car, I talked to Michael earlier. He seemed to think that the high groove was going to be the way to go, and he set up in the last practice running a high groove. He seemed to think that was the way to do it, and that's what he's doing right now. He's moved to the high groove, and those guys are checking out on him on the low groove, but he's still working that, so I think Michael's going to have to make some adjustments to get back in the race here.
If they go green flag, Michael will be okay on that high groove. But if they have some caution flags, they're able to change tires rather frequently, he'll be in trouble trying to run that high groove.
Yeah, really it was. If your car is working pretty good, you can run the low groove. If your car gets a little bit loose or a little bit pushy, you just naturally move up the racetrack to give yourself more room. Sometimes it'll tighten it up, sometimes it won't.
We have 11 cars in the lead draft. Back in the field, we have a car that's smoking.
Kenny Schrader in the AC Delco car has lost power going down in turn 1.
He drops off the pace and will bring it toward the apron of the track down the backstretch. One of 12 drivers doing double duty today and in the 500 tomorrow. Wallace continues to lead. Mark Martin running in 2nd position, and Steve Grissom up to 3rd. The 14 car of Terry Labonte back at the end of this lead draft.
He's at about 12th spot, and he started 40th. The MW Windows car started 40th. He has gained 28 positions.
The car qualified 39th, right?
Yes, 39th.
Where did he start? Did he have to start last because they changed qualifying driver? Because Bobby Labonte qualified, right?
Chad Little has also been on the move. Remember, we talked to him before the race started. He had to take a provisional to get into this event.
That's Hermie Sadler, the DeWalt car, right in front of Chad Little. Also, Larry Pearson and Kenny Wallace. That's the 4 cars in that draft. Chad, as he takes that Bayer aspirin car down to the city, backs off. He played with the throttle just a little bit, didn't he, Kyle?
Just a touch, but he drove that thing right down on the bottom of the racetrack, man. So his old car's driving really good anyhow.
And now he kind of moved over like he might be running a little hot, like the water temperature might be increasing.
Cars are running in relation to the lead pack, which now contains 4 cars. There's the 2nd group being led by Derek Cope. And now Mark Martin looks inside of Mike Wallace into turn 1, but can't take the lead away at the moment.
Looks like those guys are trying to run in the same spot. Oh, yeah, Mark has a run on the inside, and looks like he has momentum, trying to take the lead.
Johnny Benson in the 74 machine, the Rookie of the Year last year in the Busch Grand National Division.
Oh, Mark, something happened to Mark Martin. Evidently, Steve Grissom got him loose going in the corner. Had to back up. Pretty scary moment.
Like he had the momentum build up to be able to take the lead, but could not. And Mike Wallace continues to hang on. 1 as we have completed 29 of the 120 laps that make up the Goodies 300. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Kyle Petty, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at the Goodies 300 Busch Grand National opener at Daytona. Mike Wallace is your current leader. We have a field summary for you. We'll show you where everybody is running right now. Steve Grissom has moved into second position, putting Mark Martin back to third spot. And look at Terry Labonte, who's up to seventh.
And look at Steve Grissom, who's moved in right on the back bumper of the 90 car, Mike Wallace. It looked like that Wallace was going to drive away. Wrong. Grissom caught up.
Yeah, he had an 8-10 car length advantage just a couple of laps ago, but now Grissom has tucked right back on the tail.
And we can see that Mark Martin in the Winn-Dixie Ford is struggling right now. He's backed up 15, 20 car lengths.
32 cars remain on the lead lap. Several cars are already out of the race because of an accident over on turn number 2 early in the going. Martin, Purvis, and Waltrip running together.
And watch Michael Waltrip in that Pennzoil Pontiac. He is using that high line, Kyle.
And his car seems to be working there. Those cars, when he dropped back early in the race, 20 laps into the race, and started using the high line, he dropped back to 15th, something like that, a little bit back in that pack. Now, all of a sudden, he's fought his way back, and he's 5th. They're just going by him on the inside now, and he's just keep taking them off on the outside.
We told you earlier of a smoking car on the track. Johnny Benson, Jerry Punch has that story.
Bob, we're with Steve Bird as the crew chief for Johnny Benson. Steve, you made an unscheduled pit stop. What was the problem?
Well, we must have got a little too much oil in the tank. We had a good push in it, and they'd have to let way off the gas. When he got back on it, would get a puff of oil out of the tank. But I think we're all right now. We got it going a little better. We got a lap down, but boys named this guy Famous Amos after my dad, who had a heart attack a couple weeks of stroke. And Famous Amos is running pretty good, Dad. We'll be back.
That's Steve Bird, the crew chief for Johnny Benson. Let's check in with John Kernan on Michael Waltrip. John?
Well, as Kyle and Benny and Bob have said, Michael seems to be doing quite well right now. Ronnie Silver says the car just a little bit on the tight side, so the first round of pit stops, they will make an adjustment, take some wedge out, try and get the car loosened.
Oh!
Michael.
He's got some smoke. Was that tire smoke?
No, that was not tire smoke. Evidently, he sprung an oil leak, had an engine problem or something, but Michael Waltrip is smoking going down in the corner. Looks like the car's running okay.
It looks strong. I tell you, his car's got a little push in it, like he says. He might just be checking up a little bit out of the accelerator and romping back down on it real quick, and they'll do that sometimes. I didn't see any smoke when he went into 3 that time, but as you saw, going into turn 1, there was a big puff of smoke when he started down in there. He's going in the corner way high. A lot of these guys are running high coming up off the corner and through the middle of the corner, but Michael's he's entering the corner way high.
He had an engine problem. He was the last car through inspection, the last car on the line this morning, as John Kern reported, and they were looking at the engine. Maybe some of those problems are popped back up there.
There it is again.
See all that smoke.
Yeah. Very evident, at least in 1 and 2.
Michael has no luck here. You know, he ran here last year and had him absolutely covered, and the spoiler falls off the thing. Now, how many times has that happened in a race that the spoiler just comes off? And he was still checking out on him with half his spoiler on. That's what amazed me about him last year.
That was Doug Hembron that we just saw the 2 leaders go by, the 35 car. Mike Wallace still leading. Steve Grissom is second. Mark Martin is in third. And then we see Jeff Purvis is fourth. Michael Waltrip still continues to run well in fifth.
And back in 6th position is Terry Labonte. What a good run for him. He's leading this second group of cars. That also includes Derek Cope.
And regular pit stops have started. The cars that are struggling, like Hermie Sadler, stopped with the DeWalt Chevrolet, made his routine pit stop.
We estimated 40 to 45 laps for tire changes, and it's lap 39. And indeed, the first routine stops are being made. Nobody running up front has been in yet, but could before too long. We're going to take another break before the pit stops occur. At the moment, it's still Mike Wallace leading the Goodies 300 here at Daytona. We'll be right back. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World coverage of the Goodies 300. Here's the first pit stop by someone running in the top 10. This is Terry Labonte, who's brought the MW Windows Chevy in.
Changing 4 tires. We see the crew finishing up on the left side. Jack is down, and he drives away. Kyle, I'm sure all the teams will be putting 4 tires on one day.
They should be, especially in a race that's gone as long as we have under green right now. You know, the other day, and all really anybody's got to judge off of are the 125s that we ran down here as far as Winston Cup cars. They came in, we changed. Some of the guys changed 4 tires, some of the guys changed 2, some of the guys like Schrader didn't change any. The guys with 4 were the guys that went back to the front of the pack.
There's their leader on their left, Mike Wallace. The black car, Steve Grissom, he's in second. And there comes Mark Martin, the third-place car. They did, in fact, lap Terry Labonte, so you cannot stop, change 4 tires.
Steve Grissom started 21st. He's been as low as 27th. He's currently as high as he has been in the serial scoring. He is second, about 5 car lengths behind the leader, Mike Wallace.
And here he comes.
Here he comes.
Steve Grissom is making that first pit stop. Buddy Parrott, the new crew chief for the Gary Bechtel, Carolyn Bechtel team, has called Steve Grissom to pit road.
The 1993 Busch Grand National champion brings his Chevy to a stop, and the crew goes to work. Right side tires being replaced. Just 2 tires for Steve Grissom, and he's away in 15.3 seconds.
That surprises me, because they're running so low on the racetrack right now. You need those left side tires to really be working strong. I know so far out here, left side tires, you're just wetting them off after laps. So he's going to have 50, 60 laps on the set of left side tires before he gets in to take the right sides off.
And here comes Mike Wallace, the leader of the race, followed closely by Mark Martin down pit road. Wallace will flank off first to his pit. Here is John Kernan.
Barry Owens' crew goes to work. It'll be right side tires only. Very satisfied with the way the car's running. Michael has said that it has just been very, very perfect. Mark Martin also on pit road. They're taking 2 rounds of wedge out of Mark Martin's car, adding right side tires. They're waiting for the last drop. And the 54 overshot his pits in front of Mark Martin. And Mark Martin is down. Mark still can't get out as Richie Bickle blocked Martin momentarily. Mike Wallace is down and away okay after 2 tire changes, and Mark pulls in line behind him as they head down pit road.
A lot of confusion there. Mark really didn't lose very much. He falls in the racetrack just a few car lengths behind.
We saw Tracy Leslie also in the Detroit gasket car. There's Richie Bickle, new sponsor, Kleenex on that car.
Now here comes Michael Waltrip, Jeff Purvis, Jeff Green, Derek Cope, Joe Nemechek, and Rodney Combs all down pit road. The top 10 competitors making pit stops. Here's Jerry Punch at Jeff Purvis's pit.
And Mark Reno has made the call. They will change just 2 right side tires, no left side tires for Jeff Purvis's Kodak Chevrolet, who was running in the top 5. Let's check in with John Kernan in the Michael Waltrip pit.
Michael Waltrip guns the engine and pulls away down pit road. Unlike the other leaders, Michael taking on 4 tires.
John, is there any oil on pit road? Did he lose any oil as he sat there?
No, Benny, he did not. As I'm looking at his pit stall area, I understand he's still smoking out on pit road. I don't see an oil trail that he might have left. Just a wet spot where the gasoline came out the overflow, but no oil here on pit road.
So that smoking in 1 and 2 remains a mystery. Doesn't look like it's from the drivetrain, but it only happens in 1 and 2.
And we can see that the car was smoking as he left the pits that time, even at a reduced speed. So it beats me. I don't really know what the problem is. As we're watching getting back up to speed, Larry Pearson, also Dale Jarrett, the outside pole sitter, making a pit stop. Joe Bess is in the pits. And Bobby Hamilton.
The leader of the race is Bobby Hillen in the 20 car. We're riding on top of it. He has not made a pit stop, I don't believe, has he?
I don't think he has.
I don't think so.
Oh, he stopped on lap 10.
Ah, okay.
Remember, he stripped off the lug nut, spent a lot of time in there.
So So he's off sequence, but right now is the leader of the race. Ahead of him is Hermie Sadler. You get an idea of what it's like to have the controls of a race car going almost 190 miles an hour out there. What's it like, Kyle?
I tell you what, right through here, the racetrack's a lot bumpier than what you can see. There's little dark places. You can see them to the left where the cars bottom out. Bobby's running way up the racetrack right now. But as you come off here, the car wants to jump out from under you coming out of turn 4 because there's a little bit of a hump there, and that's where the gates come across. You come through the trial, on the trial, you'll see guys run down next to the white line on the left and as far to the right as you can. You drift back out to the wall. Turn 1 has always been my worst turn down here because it just kind of pitches you off in the to the corner. And
and we have a crash. Oh, Rodney Combs is in trouble in the backstretch. Off of turn 2.
I don't think he's hit anything, has he? No, he's still driving that car. And we'll have to see what the score is. I don't know. Right now, they're showing the 32 car a lap down, the first car, the outside pole sitter a lap down. So if the 20 car can get back to the line,
it'll be a big break for him. Bobby Hillen. Roof flaps did indeed deploy on the 43 car, keeping it on the ground. This is the 3rd caution of the day. And here comes Hillen off of corner number 4 to take the caution flag.
And we see right behind the 3rd car, that is Dale Jarrett. The Mac Tools car is now a lap down.
The 51 car is in 2nd position. That is Jim Bound.
Boy, Kyle, those guys that made 2 tire changes are geniuses now, aren't they?
They look like geniuses. We're sitting up here in the booth calling ourselves experts. We were dead wrong, man.
Here's the tail end of it. I don't know whether anybody else was involved or not, but again, those roof flaps did what they are designed to do. Here comes somebody through. I'm being unable to see anything. I think it's David Green, isn't it? For the 2nd time this afternoon, Green dodges a bullet.
If David Green can't see, how can we see him? But it was David Green, yes.
So Rodney Combs, after an unbelievable performance in the very early going, spins and now comes in for 4 fresh tires. Back with more of our coverage of the Goody 300 in a moment from Daytona International Speedway. ESPN Speed World is being brought to you by the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. The blockbuster blimp is once again overhead Daytona International Speedway. And Benny, I'm not so sure that we need to sing, but at least we can extend our happy birthday congratulations to Steve Tomlin from London, England, who is piloting the blimp today.
I don't think it would be a great idea to sing. And I tell you what, we have got a mess. All right, let's watch the pit stop just a moment ago.
Now watch the blue car right in the middle of your screen. That's Rich Bickle. Remember what happened last time with Mark Martin?
Same thing again. Mark is leaving as Rich Bickle is coming in. Bickle cannot get in his pits. As a matter of fact, he went on around, had to. There's a 20 car. He was the leader.
Yep, Bobby Hillen. Now, they're trying to line up for the restart, and it ain't going too well,
It's not working well at all because Dale Jarrett is a lap down. He wants to get that lap back along with Jason Keller in the 57 car. Jeff Green, the 3 car, is the leader. He says, hey, I'm the leader, let me in here. But they won't let him in.
But they don't have to let him in because technically they're in front of him, so they're at the tail end of the lead lap. They're not lap down cars, technically. So they're allowed to go in front of him. That's the argument. Now you got a rookie like Jeff Green who doesn't know the rules. You got guys like Dale Jarrett saying, I'm not letting any rookie in here.
And you've got an owner like Dale Earnhardt saying, man, you're leading the race, get front.
Jeff Green did exactly what Dale Earnhardt would have done. He would have rooted and rooted and rooted.
Here's the green flag. We are back to racing. It is Jeff Green leading the race. In 2nd position is Tracy Leslie. 3rd is Michael Waltrip. 4th is Mark Martin. And in 5th position is Terry Labonte. Then Jeff Purvis, Mike Wallace, Steve Grissom, and Bobby Hillen.
Jeff Green. Now, folks know that's not Earnhardt. That's Jeff Green. Those two cars in front of him. Dale Jarrett in 32, Jason Keller in 57, trying to get a lap back.
They're 3 wide coming off the 4th corner. Everybody's okay, though. Kernan has more on Michael Waltrip, who has been smoking on occasion.
Well, I'm with his crew chief, Ronnie Silver. And Ronnie, can you tell where that smoke is coming from off of Michael's car?
We're not exactly sure where that's coming from. We're thinking maybe the overflow on the transmission, maybe it's a little too full, but it's going away. So, and the other thing was we had a quarter panel in on the right rear tire. And they pulled that out, and he thinks it may have quit now. Not sure he hasn't run long enough to see.
Well, that wasn't the only problem. When they pitted under the green and took on 4 tires, Bob, the left rear tire was going flat on Michael's car.
That caution was a big break for several drivers, including Michael Waltrip. Scramble for position going on behind the leaders. Look at this. Larry Pearson leading a whole group of cars. Robbie Reiser in 17 is also there.
Kyle, how's that look from up here? Scary?
I'd rather be up here in this race. These races always look bad to me because the cars are so equally prepared. You'll watch them, especially after a green flag stop, like what we're watching right here. You've got 15, 20 cars running side by side, nose to tail, door to door. And they'll do it for 8 or 10 laps, and then finally they'll sort themselves out.
Now we're going to see them 3 abreast going down in turn 3. And once again, 3 abreast again.
Oh!
Boom!
Somebody got it in the side.
That's Kenny Wallace in the car with the red and white hood.
We are 3 laps away now from the halfway point. By the way, Gatorade has announced a new program. They're awarding $2,000 to the driver who is leading at the halfway point of each of the Busch Grand National races this season, and will give a $10,000 bonus to the points leader at the halfway mark of the season.
And as we watch the second pack, Jeff Green, the leader, just about crashed down in turn 1. There we see the 8 car once again, Kenny Wallace, 44, David Green.
And Rodney Combs was not slowed much by that spin off of turn 2. That car's still running well.
There we still see that Dale Jarrett, the 32 car, is out in front, and the 3 car is nowhere to be seen. As I said, going in turn 1 the last time, he just about crashed. There he is, about 5th or 6th spot. Congratulations is in order for David Green and Diane Hollingsworth, who became engaged this week.
Oh, good for them.
All right, Mike Wallace trying to take the lead from, well, no, that's not the lead because Jeff Purvis is a lap down.
No, he isn't.
No, he isn't?
Yeah, Purvis is the leader.
He's the leader.
Yep.
Excuse me. I'm confused.
You will find that nothing unusual, by the way, Kyle, during the broadcast. If you work with us very much. This is the battle for the lead off of 4. Dale Jarrett is the car that is not, well, he is on the lead lap, but he's at tail end of the pack. Here comes Mike Wallace to the inside, and he takes the lead from Purvis as Mark Martin and Michael Waltrip and others battle behind or alongside.
You've got 2 rows, row on the inside, row on the outside. Now Mike Wallace has the lead.
Yes.
Next lap by is halfway, and the $2,000 from Gatorade to the leader.
And Mike Wallace has cars battling side by side behind him, and that's going to give him an advantage as he comes to the line to complete the half distance. 60 laps completed, 60 laps to go. And Mike Wallace is the leader at the halfway point. Cross flags being displayed. Martin is second, and Steve Grissom is third.
Those guys can move around, jump in holes. They put a car, a 16-foot car, in a hole that's 18 feet wide, and they make it. That's amazing to me.
But you see, you used to do it, and Kyle still does it. It's amazing to me, having never done it before, and having no desire to try.
Mark Martin on the outside, takes the lead away from the 90 car, Mike Wallace, and here comes Steve Grissom, the black 29. That's a Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Got hung on the outside, the Troy Gasket car, and falling back third or fourth to about 6 or 7. And here goes Mark Martin trying to put Dale Jarrett a lap down. Grissom moves down with him, and meanwhile Mike Wallace moves up on the outside. Uh-oh.
Whoops. Oh, Wallace is still going to go to the outside and bring Purvis with him. And Mike Wallace not only goes to the lead, but he puts Jarrett a lap down, and several others do too. And Mike Waltrip was really loose in the corner.
Oh, look out. Come on, guys. Ease up now. Be careful. Whatever you do. There you go.
That's a sick feeling to be in that 32 car right there in the middle of them with them streamlining you on both sides.
Not a whole lot you can do.
And all you're trying to do is get your car back under control, so this goes about half sideways on you.
Derek Cope was right in the middle of all of it. He's okay as we ride with him down the backstretch.
That's Dennis Setzer, the 59 car, the Alliance Truck Driving Centers in front of Cope.
And, of course, Jeff Green to the left. And here comes Tracy Leslie in the 72 car to the inside now as they enter the tri-oval once again.
As we watch these cars, Elton Sawyer, the Ford credit car, has slowed going down the back straightaway.
Good battle for second. Martin and Purvis side by side with Steve Grissom watching. Mike Wallace continues to lead. Wallace with 3 wins in 1994 at Dover, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee.
See, now the spotter right there is telling Steve Grissom there's a car on the outside. Uh-oh, I don't think spotter worked too good that way that time.
The best words you hear, my spotter does that for me. You'll get down under somebody, and when you hear him say clear, you hang a right on whoever's over there, man.
You know you got the room.
You know you've got the room, and I mean, and that's all you're waiting to hear is just that one word. The spotters have really been a plus. We talked about the roof flaps before, but the spotters have really been a plus for NASCAR racing.
Not only telling you, if you can go up and make the pass as we watch another AutoZone race recap, but boy, they're so important when there is problems on the racetrack to let the driver know where the trouble is and what to do when you get there.
Exactly. You'll be running out here, and you're running, and you dive off into turn 1 down here, and all of a sudden there's an accident in turn 3. They can tell you whether it's high or low or where the oil is or where the debris is. And it's a big safety factor.
There you see the drivers that have led at least a lap. And those who have dropped out of the race. And again, most of these have been because of accidents, especially a multi-car tangle up in turn number 2 very early in the race. Ken Schrader has dropped out of competition, and so has Tim Bender, the former snowmobile champion.
And you can add also Elton Sawyer to that list.
Mike Wallace leads the Goodies 300, closely pursued by Mark Martin. We'll be right back. Speaking of the Goodies 300, it is still being led by Mark Martin as the 29 car of Steve Grissom runs second, then Mike Wallace, Jeff Purvis, Michael Waltrip, Derek Cope, and Jeff Green.
And Dennis Setzer. That's actually Dennis Setzer in front of Jeff Green, the Chevrolet.
The 32 car, however, of Dale Jarrett, who started outside the front row. He's taken that car behind the wall. Here comes another field summary for you. You can check and see where your favorite driver is running at the moment, as we have completed 71 laps, and there are 49 to go.
Kind of impressed with the job Steve Grissom's doing today. Unsponsored car, but quietly hanging right in there.
He's hung right in there with him all day long. He started like 24th, 25th, way in the back a little bit. He worked his way up. Next thing you know, he's been second, third, fourth. As their cars begin to go away, handling in the first segment of the race, in the first green flag set of pit stops, he stuck it right up there and was first and second again. And after the pit stops, obviously, they made a adjustment chance, and he's been able to come back and hang there. He might be the dark horse here.
Look at Mike Waltrip way up high. Dennis Setzer making a push toward the front.
Michael's car, when we pitted, if you noticed, he came out on new tires, boom, right back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Hung in there, ran with him, ran 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Now all of a sudden he's gone back to his old groove again. So, like you said, they've had a little bit of an oil leak or had a little bit of smoke or something, but they didn't make any chassis adjustment when they pitted last time, I guess. So they made no chassis adjustment, so it's the same routine. He's going back through the low groove and up to the high groove again.
The problem is he can't get anybody to run up there with him. He needs some help up there to draft with him. He could probably make some pretty good time.
I'm in the booth. I don't want to run up there where he's running. I'm going to tell you that. That's not a happy feeling.
That's where your daddy used to run, way up there by the fence.
That's okay. That was a good place to run in. It's not a good place now. And as you can see, they're going by him on the inside.
Jerry is with Dale Jarrett.
Dale, back in the garage area, out of the Mac Tools Ford. A tough day for you, almost from the start.
Yeah, we got the engine too hot early in the race. I had the fan on from the very beginning, and we just had too much taped up. It's our fault. We weren't sure exactly what to do. It'd been okay during practice this week, but for some reason it got too hot, and we pushed some water out there. I had to back off and try to save it there, plus it was pushing a little too much. And then as long as I was out front there right before I came in, it was cooling down enough, but then once I got back, it pushed the rest of the water out.
It had to happen better today than tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. We appreciate Mac Tools' involvement here in sponsoring this Ford Thunderbird. But, yeah, if I had to fall out of one of the two, this is the better one. We need a good run tomorrow.
Looking for that second win of the 500, Bob.
Pole position starter for the 500 tomorrow afternoon, Dale Jarrett. Dennis Setzer leading Mike Waltrip and Jeff Green. As up front we have 3 hooked together. They are Martin, Grissom, and Wallace. Mark Martin led most laps in 1994 Super Speedway races in this division. 733. Second place was Harry Gant, 251.
I wonder what Harry Gant's doing. Did you see him down here, Kyle, or is he home watching us on TV?
I don't know. I hadn't seen Harry. I got to talk to Harry, though. I need to be calling. Harry, if you're listening to this, call me. I need to talk to you about some stuff. But, you know, Harry said last year when we did the motorcycle ride, he said, look, I'm going to come to 5 or 6 races. I'm going to pick the ones I want to come to and watch. And the rest of them, I'm going to sit at home and watch you guys on TV. So he's probably there right now.
The 20 car is fading a little. It's back to 15th, and we're on top of the 20 machine driven by Bobby Gillen. He is losing ground rather rapidly.
There's Rich Bickle, the 54 car that we saw Mrs. Pitts a couple of times. Right in front.
And, of course, from the blockbuster blimp.
And that's Jeff Fuller right on the outside of Rich Bickle, the Sunoco car. Modified champion has moved down to run Busch Grand National this year. He is so excited.
Finished 3rd in the point standings last year. Chad Little, meanwhile, is right behind Terry Labonte, and Chad is in 13th. Started 42nd. Was up to 18th on lap 56, and now at the 75 lap mark, hangs on to 13th spot.
We saw the 63 car as Chad Little went by. That's Curtis Markham. He's one of the Penrose rookie challengers this year. Kyle, it's amazing. Just sit out there and hold that throttle right to the floor.
And then, I tell you what, though, you know, you get these cars, you work down here all week long, and you run and you run, and you get them where you can run them all week, or run them wide open around the racetrack, and then you're out here running like Chad is, and people are driving away from you. There's nothing that hurts your feelings more than that, to know that it's not anything that you can do. You've got your car driving as good as you can do. Everything's working good. You're spending money. You're just a little bit off horsepower-wise, and that appears to be the way Chad is a little bit today.
Yep.
L.W. Miller, another rookie challenger in the 18 car.
There is the lead group being led by Mark Martin, who led 10 Super Speedway races in 1994. There's a defending series champion, David Green, who is in for a stop in the Slim Jim Chevrolet. let's see, where was he running, Benny?
He's back in 24th spot when he came in. He was a lap down.
His pit is the very first one down toward turn number 1. So he gets off the pit road very quickly and builds up speed. Rejoins the Goodies 300. Mark Martin leads over Steve Grissom, Mike Wallace, Jeff Purvis, and Dennis Setzer as we have completed 78 laps. Back in a moment. Once again, the Mayflower Challenge is being held for those who drive the haulers in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series, and the drivers' meeting was held this morning as the Mayflower officials gave the official instructions as to just how this series is conducted. There's the champion from last year, Rodney Pickler. And now we go to today's action. This was held down on the area of the racetrack off of corner number 4, and this is Earl Bourbon, who drives who? Rusty Wallace?
Rusty Wallace. Bourbon. B-A-R-B-A-N, Bob. There is Earl.
There he
Hi,
is.
Earl.
Thanks.
How'd that go, Earl?
It was good. I had a good time. That's what we're here for, is to have fun. And $20,000.
Yeah, that's probably something to mention. Here's Tom McCrimmon, who finished second in last year's competition. Look at the precision that they have to use in backing up through the pylons and then stopping right on the mark.
And you can see that he drives for Darrell Waltrip in the Western Auto Chevrolet.
David Atkins then jumped in the truck, and we'll see how he can do. He came on real strong in the late going in 1994, so comes into this event perhaps with a little momentum building up, trying to knock Rodney Pickler from the top spot in the Mayflower Challenge. Looks like he put her right on the mark.
We have a course time of 1:13:50, 1:13:50.
And the winner of the first round of the Mayflower Challenge is David Atkins, who drives for the Kodiak team. $1,750 today and a $20,000 bonus at the end of the year. And there are the machines that these guys drive.
78,000 pounds up and down the interstate highways in America. From New Hampshire to California.
California, yep. Coast to coast. On the racetrack, it remains pretty much the same as the race is now settled down into its mid-stages as Mark Martin holds on to the lead over Steve Grissom and Mike Wallace. Jeff Purvis continues to run fourth, and Dennis Setzer, Jeff Green, Michael Waltrip, Derek Koch, and Tracy Leslie.
Bobby Hamilton retired in the 42 car just a moment ago. That's the Fred Turner automobile.
That's a bad sign. I'm splitting duties with Bobby this year. He's driving here, and I'm going to drive. I guess I'm probably in Atlanta maybe, and then Miami in November. I look for the warmer races towards the end of the year. That was smart. So Bobby's going to run a lot of races from shower to shower for Fred Turner.
These three cars evenly matched. And here we see Bobby Hillen, who was able to stretch that pit stop in for a pit stop. Right side's going on the car.
Now, you remember he got off sequence, but then got back on sequence. But here he's making an early pit stop. But it could be early on in the regular sequence. We're at lap 83. But he was not performing as well as he was earlier in the race. It dropped back to 15th.
Meanwhile, as he goes down pit road, the leaders have gone by. So he is now a lap down.
Got to stay to the left of that yellow line.
To the left of the yellow line until it blends going into turn 1. Then in turn 1 and 2, you got to keep your left side on the bottom, on the white line along the bottom. Then you blend in the backstretch, and that's the rule.
Here is Jeff Green going to the high side of Setzer, and they split Phil Parsons. Whoa!
Yeah, Phil was involved in that early accident and has some damage on the left front in the corner. There we can see the damage on the left front of Phil's car, and those guys, whoo, scary moment.
Man, the 3 and the 59 have been battling for position the last few laps. Green had it for a while now. Setzer has it again. And that's the battle for the 5th spot. Yeah, Phil's back in 29th position, 3 laps down. The average speed of today's race is 153.1 compared to the record of 157.137. So we're, almost 4 miles an hour off the track record.
But if this goes green flag the rest of the way, we easily could set a record.
Yep.
There we see Jeff Green. Had to be a thrill when Dale Earnhardt called him up and said, would you drive my Busch car? Can you imagine for someone like Jeff Green getting that call, Kyle?
I tell you what, you know, you're sitting in a place, and he was probably sitting at home, and Earnhardt called him, and I bet the boy didn't sleep for 2 weeks. I know I wouldn't have. I can tell you that. When you look at what Dale Earnhardt has done in Winston Cup racing and you know, what he's done through his entire career, he's got to be a pretty decent judge of talent as far as people that work on his car and people that drive his stuff. And he's never put anybody in that car that didn't have a shot at winning a race. And Jeff Green's got a shot at winning a lot of races this year.
That's a good point, but on the other hand, man, think of the pressure that's on his shoulders today to make a good showing. But on the other hand, you know, I know that Earnhardt is aware that you can't go out maybe and win the first race.
I see Mike Wallace has moved up the racetrack a little bit, trying to get by the 29 car on the outside. Looked there like there was just enough room for that 29 to move up. Meanwhile, it looks like these guys have closed up on Mark Martin. Once again, Mike's going to try it on the outside.
Wallace has a strong car.
The 90 car really comes off the corner a lot faster than some of these other cars do. And that's the deal. He gets them down on the bottom of the racetrack. They bog down a little bit. He slips to the outside of them and gets a pretty good run on them.
He's got second.
And if you wonder why he changed numbers, last year Mike Wallace drove 9 on the Busch Grand National, this year 90, because that's the same number as his Winston Cup car. Duron, his sponsor in Busch Grand National, is an associate in the Winston Cup, and Heilig Myers, the Winston Cup sponsor, an associate in Busch Grand National. So they changed the number to 9, so the cars will be the same, but different. Does that make you sense?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and I'll say this: Mike Wallace has come in and he stepped into Barry Owens' car and he stepped into Junie's car, and he took 2 cars that were pretty much middle of the pack, so-so race cars just about sometimes. Could have had strong runs, but he's made them both competitive race cars, and they've got a shot at winning races not only with the Heilig Myers Winston Cup car, but with this car also.
John Kernan has more on Mike Wallace.
Well, as Mike's mom would say, he's the most talented driver of all the Wallace brothers, but this year he's probably going to be the busiest driver of all the Wallace brothers. Mike running Winston Cup, ARCA, Busch Grand National, a total of 59 events. He says the reason he's doing this now, the weight and the V8s now in Busch Grand National is going to accelerate his learning curve, make him a better Winston Cup driver. Let's go down pit road to Dr. Jerry Pons.
And John, talking about learning curves, we were talking about Jeff Green and Dale Earnhardt. Now, what Dale Earnhardt is doing, he has positioned himself on top of the photo tower at the very midpoint of pit road. And Earnhardt is talking to his young driver, Jeff Green, every time by says, hey, your car's going to get loose. When the car comes up behind you, he's there, you're going to get loose. And sure enough, Green got loose. Stay on the bottom of the racetrack. Stay low. Now, follow him. And Green is listening to everything Earnhardt tells him.
L.W. Miller is smoking going down the backstretch in that UniFirst Uniforms 18 machine.
That's a gorgeous machine.
It is. Painted very nicely.
But none of them look good smoking. Agree, Kyle?
Never. They never look good with smoke coming out from under them. Never.
Mark Martin has about a car length advantage on Wallace, and then dropping off the pace just a little bit, losing 4 or 5 car lengths, is Steve Grissom, who is third, and coming up to challenge him is Jeff Purvis.
And Jeff Purvis has closed up a little bit. He was about twice that distance behind the leader, Mark Martin, just a few laps ago. He is closing in just a tick.
There are less than 30 laps to go in this one.
And Mike Wallace is off the pace. The 90 car goes off the pace.
Here comes Steve Grissom around to the inside. And now Jeff Purvis will try to do the same. Oh, look how loose he is there in the corner.
It's like that he's got a flat tire, lost a cylinder or something, but all of a sudden the car slowed down the back straightaway.
He only lost 1 position back there. Let's see if he can hang on to that 3rd spot on this lap. Waltrip has reported to his crew that his car has developed a push. He's back in 8th spot.
Well, here comes Mike Wallace back. I would have sworn that something happened to his car.
Yeah, as quick as he dropped from being right on Mark's rear end to being back 20 car lengths, I don't know if the car just really picked up a bad push and he had to totally get out of the gas right at the beginning of the straightaway, and he just lost so many RPMs it didn't build back up. But it looked pretty bad when he first started, but it's come back.
Here's 8th and 9th. Waltrip and Tracy Leslie, and way up high on the racetrack, the yellow and black car is Larry Pearson.
And he's the 10th place car.
And behind him is Chad Little, who's 11th.
And he started 42nd, right? Yep. He's worked his way up to 11th.
Once again drops off the pace just a little.
And the 29 car is taking the lead. Now Mark Martin, it's like he got pushing or something off the second corner. The 29 car went by, and now Mike Wallace goes by.
John Kernan, what's going on?
Well, I'm headed back down to Mark Martin's pit to find out what's wrong with him. I just talked to Barry Owen, owns Mike Wallace's car. He says the car has picked up a pretty severe push. They're planning on stopping for tires, right side tires, doing about 10 laps for Mike Wallace. But right now, the car pushing, headed down to check on Mark Martin now.
Terry Labonte, meanwhile, who is in 15th position, has already made what will probably be his final pit stop. And we should be seeing the leaders come in for their pit stops before too long. We want to make sure we cover those, but right now our concern is if Grissom is going to hold on to the lead, and he apparently will down the backstretch. So we're going to take a break and be back with more of the Goodies 300 from Daytona here on ESPN. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World's presentation of the Goodies 300 Busch Grand National race from Daytona. And here is the battle for the lead as Steve Grissom heads inside of Mike Wallace.
No. Mike Wallace was going by Steve Grissom on the outside. Bob, pay attention. Grissom was leading, and Mike Wallace is trying to pass him on the outside. Meanwhile, the 14 car, Terry Labonte, is trying to stay in the lead lap. You got it?
Here's John Kernan.
Mark Martin is expecting to pit here in about 5 laps. Just talked to his crew. They said Mark has basically used up the tires. They'll pit in 5 laps, take 1 can of fuel, and right sides only.
Terry Labonte leading this group. Remember, he's already made a pit stop, and we see a lot of cars coming down pit road at the moment as we focus our attention toward the racetrack. There is, among others, Jeff Green coming in for their final pit stops. Down the backstretch. Let's go to Jeff Green's pit stop and Jerry Punch.
Two right side tires only for Jeff Green. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right front because the car was a little bit loose. They raised their air pressure in the right front. He gets 2 right side tires down on the lane. Meanwhile, pitting right behind him, Derek Cope, leaving his car stalled, but now refires and leaves pit road.
Chad Little is coming out. The leaders come through the tri-oval.
And we can see that Mike Wallace is back in the lead. And Kyle, I think you're exactly right. He just got the car pushing coming off the second corner and had to completely lift out of the throttle a few laps ago. It's why he looked like he was off the base.
Yeah, and I tell you what changes on these cars, you don't understand. You set these cars up with 50, 51, 52% nose weight. Weight is real important to these cars. You run out of full tank of fuel, you change the percentage, 3 percentage points. 3 percentage points is major. When these tires give up, and you got a little bit of tire push, then you got a little bit of aero push, then you got a little bit of weight push, these things will plow, and that's what these guys are screaming about now.
Michael Waltrip completes his final stop. He was in 8th position. He rolls back out.
And all the leaders are coming in pit road. There's the 29 car, the 60 car, 59-4.
Mike Wallace stays out there, but nearly everyone else, at least in the top 5, comes in. Jeff Purvis coming down toward his pit near turn number 1. Here is Mark Martin's Winn-Dixie Ford getting its final service. Here's John Kernan.
Right side tires, 1 can of gasoline, no chassis adjustment for Mark Martin. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
Chassis adjustment down here with Jeff Purvis. Right side tires only. They topped it off for fuel. He is down on the way, but he will be behind the 3 cars that were pitting further up pit road, Bob.
Johnny Benson makes the pit stops in the Lipton T Monte Carlo. Here comes Mike Wallace. The Duron paints for John Kernan. He is headed toward you.
65 miles an hour down pit road. Mike Wallace may have gotten caught napping there. He wanted to pit with everyone else. He has to come in and pit without a dancing partner. Right side tires. They also expected to make a chassis adjustment to try and loosen that car up. Waiting, the gasoline going in. Wallace waiting. Now the jack is dropped. He is down and away. A pretty decent pit stop.
13.2 seconds. Let's see where the leaders are. They're just coming out of turn number 4 into the tri-oval as Mike Wallace picks up speed, now is clear of the speed limit line and tries to build up momentum and fall into the tail of the leaders.
I think he's going to have trouble. I think he'll have to. There we see the leader overtaking him down in 1 and 2. He's trying to build speed. What's he in about 3rd gear right now, Kyle?
Yeah, he's good 3rd. He won't shift to 4th until halfway down the backstretch. He's in a little bit of trouble, but I tell you, as strong as that car's been today, with just a little bit of help, and there's Labonte right in front of him, with just a little bit of help, he'll suck back to him.
It will be interesting to see if Mike Wallace can draft back up toward the front. At the moment, it is Steve Grissom, Mark Martin, and Dennis Setzer at the front of the Goodies 300. Back at Daytona, look at this 3-car battle for the lead at the start-finish line. Dennis Setzer showing some muscle, headed toward the inside and taking the lead.
Mark Martin is trying to follow him to that 2nd spot. He does follow him, puts the previous leader, Steve Grissom, back to 3rd.
But the best part about this, while these guys are running 3 wide through the trial and putting on a show, just to the right of the screen there is a 90 car, and he's called him.
Aha! So what we wondered about has turned to reality. Mike Wallace has been able to draft back up and join those at the front. There he is, just a few car lengths behind 3rd place and coming up rapidly. Look at that car.
Man, oh man.
It's a rocket up off the corners. It's incredible.
Down through the tri-oval, he's right on the back bumper now of Grissom.
Cal, what he learns today, can he take it back across the way to Winston Cup and put it on the 90 car?
I hope not.
Oh, man, that slow car got in the way. That's Bobby Hillen in the feeder car, isn't it? Yes, it is. Got in Dennis Setzer the leader's way. The 29 goes by, the 60 goes by, and now Mike Wallace trying to go by.
Mike can learn a lot from what he's learned today, from what the racetrack is changing, from the way these things, like we talked at the beginning of the show, these cars are a lot closer to Winston Cup cars now than what they were last year, so he can transfer some of this stuff, and Mike's Winston Cup car is running good already.
So Mark Martin now is in the lead by a couple of car lengths. We jump on top of the FINA car driven by Bobby Hillen. Watch to the left as the car goes by Hillen.
Dennis Setzer, who was the leader and got caught behind Bobby Hillen going down in turn 1.
We'll be able to see how strong Setzer is here. When they get broke like that, when you get broken out of a pack like that, it's hard to catch back up. If Setzer can catch back up to him, he's got a pretty decent car.
Boy, there is certainly no clear-cut favorite at this point, is there, with 18 laps to go. Wallace probably has displayed the strongest car, but I think that Mark Martin or Setzer or Grissom, any one of these guys can win.
But all of a sudden, Mike Wallace has dropped back 4 or 5 car lengths, like he might have picked up some more push, Kyle.
He run him down so quick, and you know, he was catching a little bit. And it's hard. With the draft now, as slick as all these cars are, and as much time as these teams spend in a wind tunnel with them, you know, you run a guy down and you catch him, and instantly you're running his speed, whether it was faster or slower than what you were running. But I think Mike still got a little bit for him. If I'm going to have to choose a guy right now, I'm choosing Mike right here with 18 or 20 laps to go.
Looked like Steve Grissom looked to the inside of Martin coming off the 2nd corner, but couldn't make a move.
Oh, we got a crash over in turn 2.
Car sliding to the inside. That's Larry Pearson.
And caution flag is out. So now, this is going to mix things up. Larry Pearson was running 10th spot.
The Stanley Tools Chevrolet spins coming off of corner number 2. I believe he was the only car involved, but it does bring out another caution, and it's our 4th of the day.
Now, Kyle, you think these guys will come back in and change the left sides?
Yeah, I'm sure they probably will.
Here's the tail end of the spin, and it was difficult to see exactly what caused it, but he spun just off the second corner and didn't hit anything.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
He's saying, and we're saying.
We're going to take another look at this. We're going to back it up here for you and look for another car that could have played a role in this incident. Look at the top of the wall as, yeah, right. There was some car that was way out of shape. In fact, may have been into the wall.
Trying to dodge, like maybe Joe Nemechek or something. It kind of looks like Nemechek's car.
Hard to tell who it is, but in any case, nothing real serious in turn number 2. So we will be back now with more coverage from Daytona, the Goodies 300, right after these minutes. Stay with us. Back at Daytona, where the first 5 or 6 cars did not come in. However, Mike Waltrip, Jeff Green, and several others are making pit stops. Terry Labonte also on pit road.
Mike Wallace was running in 6th spot. The first 5 chose not to come in. He, in fact, pitted.
Mike Waltrip.
Mike Waltrip. What did I say, Mike Wallace?
Yep.
That's what you're here for, to correct it.
Believe me, I take every advantage. Green's car still getting left side tires. Long pit stop for Jeff. Now he's down.
That might have been Bobby Donner's car we saw up on against the wall.
Jerry, what's going on down there?
Well, they actually took on all 4 tires on the Goodwrench Chevrolet and Jeff Green, and then they started to take off, and the car died. He put it back in gear, refired it, and it died again. He got it refired. It cost him about an extra 3 or 4 seconds, but they made all 4 tires, a 4-tire change, I should say, on the Goodwrench Chevrolet.
Well, he lost lots of track position because of that slow pit stop. Hey, we're coming up on President's Day, and what a better example of American freedom and the American way than a bald eagle which flies over Lake Lloyd in the middle of the racetrack. How about that, huh?
He's fishing.
It's almost like you want to stand up and sing the national anthem or something. But instead, we'll take a break and be back with the restart of the Goodies 300 in a moment. We welcome you back to the Goodies 300 at Daytona International Speedway. And once again, our hats off to the Blockbuster Video Blimp, which has been supplying the overhead shots of Daytona today during the running of the Goodies 300. Thank you, guys.
And happy birthday,
yes,
Steve
Tomlin from London, celebrating his birthday today.
And someone is going to celebrate a victory here pretty doggone soon.
This will complete 108 laps. We go back to green on lap 109, and there are 11 laps to go. There's the green flag. The leader is Mark Martin with Grissom, Wallace, Setzer, Purvis, and Cope lined up behind him.
Chose not to pit. What kind of advantage does Michael Waltrip, some of these guys who did stuff, what kind of advantage do they have? And look at Mark Martin gets his car pushing off the corner just like Kyle Petty talked about, and Grissom goes by.
Grissom heads to the inside and brings Wallace and Setzer and others with him, and Mark Martin is headed for the back. He falls from first to about 6th position as others battle for position behind him. At the line, it is Steve Grissom with about a car length advantage on Mike Wallace.
Michael, can you get build-up on the tires at Daytona, you think?
You get a little build-up, but not much. I tell you what, the cars that would have been able to take advantage of new tires here were the cars that didn't pit.
I'm sorry I called you Michael.
That's okay. I'll let you slide this time. But I tell you what, Michael and those guys, they pitted. They're going to be back in traffic. They're not strong enough to come around them.
The 54 car with a strong performance here. That's Rich Bickle. Remember how he's missed his pit a couple of times? Well, he is in the lead lap and battling with Mark Martin, with whom he is pitted near. These guys are battling at the moment for 7th position. Look at the scramble off 4.
And Michael Waltrip was desperately trying to get underneath Rich Bickle, could not do it. As Tracy Leslie goes by Michael Waltrip, also the 14 car of Terry Labonte.
10 laps to go. Steve Grissom has 8 Busch Grand National wins. This is his 195th race in this series, and of course, he was the champion in '93.
Now they're 3 abreast. Michael on the inside of Bickle, and there goes Tracy Leslie. They really are 3 abreast going in turn 3.
Whoa! Somebody back off.
Looks like Bickle was the one that got out of that sandwich. Chad Little on the inside of Terry Labonte. There's Kenny Wallace, the Red Dog car. Meanwhile, Steve Grissom still leading this thing. There you see him, Mike Wallace in second.
You got to think, though, that as strong as Wallace's car has been all afternoon, that he's just waiting for the opportunity. You think, Kyle?
Just waiting. You know, he's been so strong. All he needs is a little bit of help, and right now he's using Grissom. He's using Grissom to pull him along, and keeping those guys behind him. And all he's counting on is making one move, pulling out, and either having Setzer or Purvis or somebody give him a little bit of a push and going down. And it's amazed me that there's 9 laps to go, and it looks like they just dropped a green flag on this race as tight as they're all running.
Yep. It's been a great race.
And Kyle, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed with these 9.5 to 1 compression engines. They've done a good job. There we see Chad Little, Derek Cope trying to go by Jeff Purvis. Chad Little has moved up to 4th place after starting, what was it, 42nd he started?
Yep.
Man.
Or riding.
This is Derek Cope, FDP Brakes. This is the sponsor was on the 9 car last year of Mike Wallace.
It's only a 1-race deal for this team. There's Mark Martin on the right. And just ahead is Chad Little, and he has his sights set on Dennis Setzer. Remember where he started way in the back, had to take a provisional to get into the field. Started 42nd out of 45.
7 laps to go.
Those guys that made the pit stops have really not moved up very much, mainly because of traffic. It's just almost impossible to get through 3-wide racing.
Yeah, and once you pit and you run 5 or 6 laps on a set of tires, you're equal with the guy that's got 15 or 20 laps on his set of tires.
Here's a move by Mark Martin to the inside of Jeff Purvis. The battle for 5th as Derek Cope goes to the bottom with Martin. And here comes Mike Waltrip.
I think Michael Waltrip has a pretty good race car right now if he could just clear himself of the traffic.
If Michael could just get in a line with him and get a run at him and pick them off one at a time. The problem is there's 7 laps to go and there's 7 or 8 cars in front of him, and I'm not sure he's got enough time to pick them off. They're going to have to do some 2- and 3-wide racing like they're doing right now with Chad Little. Moved up to 3rd. God, I mean, he's going to the front. He's been saving it all day long, I guess.
And he get Dennis Setzer in the middle. They got him off the gas, and cars blowing by inside and outside.
Including Michael Waltrip, and here comes Terry Labonte. Tracy Leslie in 72 is to the outside.
I'm just going to sit here and tell you that my hands are sweating right now. I'm a nervous wreck watching all this.
Now you know what we go through every week watching you guys. It's worse up here than it is in the car, I guess. Up front, it is still Steve Grissom. The battle for 2nd place. Look at Chad Little come to the inside of Wallace. And Little has 2nd position as they head for 1.
Mark Martin's coming with him. Mark Martin is directly behind Chad Little, and Michael Waltrip is there.
Still anybody's race. Grissom hangs on, separates himself by about 3 car lengths. Last year, Chad Little had another excellent run from about 38th to 3rd. This year started 42nd. He is battling for the lead.
And And this shows a totally different kink in the Grissom strategy. Grissom's been racing the 60 car, the 90 car, and other cars all day long. Now he looks in his mirror, he's got somebody brand new. He doesn't know what this guy can do.
That's right. He has no idea how fast the 23 car is, where his strong suit is, where his weak points are. And now they got Mike Wallace hung on the outside, and poor Tracy Leslie. There were 3 abreast coming off the trailer for just a second.
There are 4 laps to go, and 16 cars are on the lead lap. The front 3 now separate themselves a little bit from Michael Waltrip and Mike Wallace.
Now, Michael, move up behind Wallace. You guys can run him down. There you go. Perfect. He's listening to me.
Yes, he is. Now, side by side are Leslie and Labonte. Coke will come with Labonte on the inside. But Leslie is able to get... Uh-oh. Wow, Leslie was sideways there in the corner.
Leslie got sideways, and Derek had to check up just a little bit, so that might have broke them a little bit. With 3 laps to go, you don't even notice your car gets sideways. You're just hanging on and riding right now. I don't think Leslie even knows that his car jumped on him down here because he never checked up. He never lost anything.
Trying to figure out what to do. Oh, man, Chad Little and Mark Martin almost made contact, and Grissom doing some serious blocking. Oh, and look at him wiggle.
Man, look at Little now. He's going to go inside. Oh, and a spin and a crash. Oh, no.
And Chad Little's going to beat Michael Walker back to the line.
And this will end the race.
Incredible. Incredible.
Steve Grissom, I guess he just checked up because he was loose all the way through 3 and 4 and just had to get out of the throttle and set off a chain reaction. Well, what a bad way to end what was an absolutely wonderful and exciting race. It's too bad it had to end with a bunch of junk sitting down in turn 4.
Great race, but that shows you how close this racing is. When
You're right.
Guys are that close together, and one little guy checks up and one little mistake is made, then it takes out 4 or 5 cars.
Mark Rippon, part owner of the 23 car.
Chad Little wins the race, by the way. Here's what happened.
Chad gets up under him and makes the 29 car loose. He wiggles. Chad's right there. It's perfect racing right there. But when Chad gets completely up under him, his car really gets out, and Mark is there to hammer him. Yep. No place for Mark to go, no place for Grissom to go, and everybody else is just blocked up. They're just pile driving themselves right now. It's Kenny Wallace who just gets a nip right there. Continues on. Here's Terry Labonte on the inside who ends up running 2nd or 3rd. These guys... Bobby Hillen, they're still coming in. There's the 3 car. David Green spinning in the background. Cars coming through the grass down pit road here, wide open, trying to get around this stuff. There were guys running 16th place that are going to finish 4th and 5th in this
You're right.
race.
Yep. Here it is again. Little to the inside of Grissom. Grissom checks up, and Mark nails him.
No place to go. Nobody's fault. That's just the way it is.
And you're right. There was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're right. Probably the first 12 cars out of the top 16 all crashed coming off turn 4.
The white flag has been displayed. There is less than a lap to go before the race is over and Chad Little collects the victory. Here's Derek Copes in car camera. Watch and listen. You just hold your breath at that point. When you see the car get sideways and the smoke start coming up, you just hold on. And now, from the 20 car, the Bobby Hillen machine. It's way up ahead of him,
but the racetrack's blocked. At this point in time, Hillen doesn't know it, but the racetrack is blocked. He's on the brakes trying to get through it, and they're just checking up in front. I mean, no place for Bobby to go, no place for anybody to go, and you just keep trying to push your way through it. Same time you're pushing your way, there's people pushing their way behind you. See, he's still hitting people here. But like I say, there's nothing you can do. The best thing to do is try never to stop, to keep going, to keep pushing your way through, so you never take a hard blow.
You know, one concern that people had, they knew that they had to race back to the line because basically the race was over. That's one reason that they kept going, trying to get back to the line.
They knew. That's why you saw these guys like the 44 car come across the grass and stand back in the gas. Hillen continued to drive. Mark Martin continued to drive. Even after everything happens, he's still running around the racetrack out there.
And there we see Tim Bender with the left side of his car banged up.
A lot of damaged machinery, bringing to an end the Goody's 300 for 1995. The pace car leads the field off of corner number 4. They're about to drive through the area where the accident occurred. We believe that nobody was hurt in this thing, but it sure did damage a lot of equipment. Here comes Chad Little to the stripe to get the checkered flag. Here is Jerry Punch.
And they are celebrating down here in the Chad Little pits, and a big smile from co-owner Mark Rippon. And Mark, congratulations.
This is unbelievable. You know, 3 years ago winning the Super Bowl is a great thrill. We get as much kick out of this, especially for the guys, you know, on this team that works so hard. You know, Bear has done a wonderful job in sticking with us for the last 3 years. And, of course, Chad, you know, the job that he did today. And, you know, you don't have to lead many laps. If you can lead that last one, it's always a big win. And, gosh, this is tremendous. Our team is excited. They worked hard. You know, like I say, Bear and Harris Teeter have been backing us the last 2 years. And this is great. This is a great day for us. And hopefully many more to come.
That's Mark Rippon in the Bayer pits. Bob?
It's the first Busch Grand National win for Chad Little in his 30th race. He started 42nd on the field. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World has been brought to you by Goodyear, #1 in tires, and by Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. The Goody's 300 is over. Here's Victory Lane and Jerry Punch.
Thanks, Bob. The celebration continues. Chad Little from 42nd to 1st. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, Jerry. You know, I want to thank our crew, of course. We had some good pit stops, and we had some good strategy. The car was good all day, and I got to thank Bear, and in the same breath, I have to thank Goody's for a good race. I hate that it ended on an accident, but it's just good, strong racing, and you know, I'd like to see it end otherwise. I'm glad everybody's okay, and just very sweet. You know, it's been a long time coming, and I don't know quite what to say. I'm too excited.
Chad Little celebrates down here with wife Donna. His first Busch Grand National win is a big one, Bob.
Congratulations to Chad. Here's the entire field rundown. And Benny, some excellent performances by other drivers. For instance, Kenny Wallace started 31st, finished 4th. Jim Bound started 38th and finished 6th. And Rich Bickle also with an excellent performance here this afternoon in what was an absolutely fantastic race.
It was a fantastic race. You're right. And Bobby Scruggs, longtime Busch official, I wish you had been here, and I'll see you soon.
Shop Talk is coming up next. We will see you in Atlanta. For now, this is Bob Jenkins from Daytona International Speedway. So long, everyone.